So thank you for sitting down to an interview about some of the things that you're working on right now. I have a few questions for you about the work and the songs that you have released and you are going to release. So first question. Fans have been streaming your new single, Open and Alive, since it was released on Friday. They've called it energetic, joyful, a banger, with a modern sound. How would you describe the song yourself?
I would actually say like it's what you want to hear when you're on a dance floor. And that dancey feeling, I want that in the car as well. So that's the energy I want to bring in. So for me, it's a dance tune. But it's all those words, all those... I think it's a very good summary. It's energetic. It's a bit modern right now. It's going to change like in 5 minutes. It's maybe not the one that you sing along to when you shower, but because it hasn't got that like melody in Sweden, you can really write folk tunes like that. But this is not a folk tune. I've done those too, but this is something else. This is just dance.
So you sang the song live for the first time last night in Washington, D.C., so tell me about that.
Well, I was a bit, because of the sound was a bit funny, and I really had to change a lot on stage, and I had to go to talk to the sound engineer. Then and suddenly I could hear a guitar, and suddenly it went away, so it was like, So I was supposed to dance a bit more, but I was just standing still because I had to focus on where are we, what happens. But it was, I think it was well received because many people hadn't heard it. It was like, yeah, it's a song. It's like, yeah, it's a song. Yeah, that's a good thing because they didn't walk away and start to cry and argue and that's always possible.
Did you have, was it difficult to remember the words, or do you have those down at this point?
I have them down. But there's also that you read a lot of things in the audience at the same time when you're standing where you're doing. It's like, it's a very stressful, in one way, a good stress, but it's a very stressful situation. So you can easily be blown off. And I haven't done it on stage at all before. So that was the first time, which obviously, like some of it, I know that was some words that was like, okay, I know where I'm coming. But I've heard it for a year, and I've been singing it for longer than that. So, but on stage, it's always different.
Which actually leads us to the next question. It's a little bit longer. So tell us the story of Open and Alive from start to finish. From your first idea, the writing, the recording, the release, the hopes for the song, basically everything you can think of about it.
Okay. I haven't been able to go to a specific course that I wanted to go to. But since COVID came, I was not going anywhere else, and I needed to have something to do. So I wanted to read something, I wanted to study something. And then in Swedish church, they provide with a basic course. So you can take that. I did that, and you were supposed to go there for every month. And then COVID came in the way that you had to close down again. And so we only saw each other in the group or the class for 2 months. And the second time when I was leaving the place, it's a beautiful place. It's like the one I am at, but in the country. So it's not in the salty water sea. It's like this is in another environment. And it was a peace in my heart, but it was also that I realized that I'm not going to come back to this because it's like you become a group, you become a team together. I'm not going to come back to that, and that was a bit sad because I needed to see people. I'm used to going away and see like 200 people at least every weekend, and I was like, oh no. So I was there, and I was leaving the place, and I had this. I have this prayer language, and I took that with me in the car, and I always sing. And this verse came to me, and it was like, that's so weird because it's like, sit down. It was tossing around the melody a bit. So it just came, and I recorded it, and it was I had the bridge. It's like verse, bridge, chorus, and the verse. After that comes the bridge, and that for me was the chorus. So that was the song. for me. And then I gave it to Simon, and we were recording it in maybe we did 4 songs in 6 hours from scratch, just like an idea to work on. So he was going back to Korea, but we were sitting for 6 hours just trying to get like a general idea how I wanted it to sound with all this stuff. And I had Head in My Heart. It's a song that I really, I just love it. I can't sit still. And that is what I wanted to have, that kind of dancey song that would make people not be able to sit still. And then I presented the song, and we were like starting to get an idea how we wanted to do it. And I was supposed to sing it. It's like, okay, so that is the verse and that is the bridge. Now you give me a chorus. And I'm like, just a second, what's that? Because what I usually, I don't know, I'm like, I have so many fine Swedish words that I don't know in English, but I'm you know those fish that cleans the aquarium? They eat on the glass, so they keep them clean. I'm like that in life. I just suck a lot of things up, and I don't usually run and write a song as soon as I get a feeling. I can do that, but sometimes I'm just watching and beholding. I was just like, I'm just sucking it in, and I at this specific thing, I sit down in front of the piano that we have at home, and then it's easily in 20 minutes. It's easily 17 songs that comes out. I just pick them up like, you know, you draw paper from it's like that. It just comes because I've been buckling up. And then, okay, so I made a slow idea, and then suddenly I just make a faster idea. I don't go and get inspiration. I just sit and it just comes out. And then I have like a pattern on my table of a lot of songs. And then you start to play. It's a patchwork. So which song goes where, which idea should go where. Because it's not usually, it comes with lyrics, but it's not, sometimes it's a verse with a crappy chorus, but it comes with verse and chorus. So they just come, it's like I just spit it out, like a hairball on a cat, but I don't want to have that. Anyway, so the songs just comes out after a specific time. If I haven't done anything with them, they just stick in me. And I call them a cluster. It's like it just comes out. I went to one of those sessions that I have on my phone, because then I have like 17 recordings. It's like you see the minutes. I can show them too. There's it's weird, super weird. Okay, so this one I go through when I do these sessions with Simon. I go through all these cluster moments, like 20 minutes. It could be longer as well, but anyway, it's like to get an average 12 or 17 songs is the maximum. I think that's just. And then it's boring. So then now I have to do something else. So these cluster songs, cluster sessions is the right word. I realized, okay, this is an up-tempo. So here's an up-tempo idea. And it's like, oh, I got this one, Simon, for you. And then I just sang it. It's like, oh, good, I can do that. And then he put it in major. It's like, no, it's supposed to be in minor. No, it's supposed to be in major. Okay, do we try it in major? That might be nice with the other thing. And it's like, no, it's supposed to be in minor. It's like no, this is going the wrong way. It's like, so I told him it has to be in minor. And he's like, okay, I'll change it. So we started to change it, and then he said, but in that case, I keep the other one in major. I was like, yeah, you can do that. And then all of a sudden, we just both realized, oh, this is what we should keep. So that's the story behind that. Which is so funny, because I was just singing it for him, and he just, okay, we do the chords. I was like, no, it's in minor. No, yes. And then we got, because it would have been very strange if it was all in minor, and it didn't become what I wanted in major, but now it became what I wanted. And then we went back to Korea, and I started to started to think about how I wanted to release these things, because if it's going to be a reality, the thing I wanted was, I told I told Jacob and Simon that I want to do 4 songs. I want to do one that is dancey. I want to do one that is a bit like jazzy but energetic. I wanted to do one that was a ballad, and then I wanted to do one that was that I've been having for ages. One of those, just a song basically. So I had these 4 that could lean a bit to Sting if you wanted to, but it doesn't really have to be that. But like those 4 things, what I wanted to start in one dance corner, and then I wanted to continue another, and just give back. I'm so grateful for what I've been experiencing. So I went from. I started with this, that it was an obvious dance hit, because that is what people are expecting. They're not expecting me to sing a ballad, maybe. No, maybe they do, but not as a first. And we gave it some thoughts on what should be better. What drums should be louder. So this was one we made 5 adjustments only, so you could do how many you want, and and that was it. And then I started to think who will release this, because I was just putting it on CD Baby, I thought, because nobody's interested, especially not in Sweden. They're not interested in my music, and I've been trying hard with Playground before. I've been showing them all my material. They never said anything about it, because it's the base town, so I shouldn't go there. But then they realized that we want to work with your music, and it's like, okay, good, because I explained the idea. I just want to give back. So if you can be my pipeline, that'd be good. I do everything else. I do the artwork. I do all these things, and you just send it on. And so that's what happened. And they actually said that we want to release your music, and I was like, yeah. You do? Are you sure? So I was really happy, because we've been like fighting before, and now it's like a very nice story how we just came together doing this, and a collaboration. And then it was I had so much to do this summer. I wanted it out for the summer, but I had so much to do, and they want to do a decent release. They didn't want to haste it, so it's like, okay. So I just sit on my hands like I do, like, okay, and listen to what they wanted to do. And that's why they said, do you want it before or after Christmas? Before. Like, definitely before. I need to be able to give the other ones out as well. So
what are your hopes for this particular single release?
I already achieved it. I wanted to make fans listen to my music and give back, and maybe because I find a key in Open and Alive. When I've been down, I've been puzzled, I've been confused, I've been having like bad day, I put Open and Alive on, and it actually is one of the songs that actually gives back to me, because I think it's so funny, because it's all about the song in itself is about well, very deep maybe, because it came from my prayer language. I wanted to make that imprint of the song, so I can't just steal it away from the poor Lord in heaven who gave me it. I need to know. I had to be firm with that. It has to be to His praise in one way or the other. So I just had that spirit in the sky. With the spirit in the sky, it's impossible to sit down. I told somebody before, but there is a story about a woman who rode on, just to get the picture of what I wanted to feel like when you listen to the song. There is a story about a woman who were riding on a Greyhound bus, and she fell asleep in the back of the bus, and then she woke up and she was like bored, so she started to pray. And in that prayer, she saw a vision, saw a sight, how it was in heaven. So she obviously saw God Almighty sitting on his throne, and around him there, or whatever, her, I mean, and I have no problems with that. I call him. Around God there was angels. That the only thing they do, their job is, I don't know, I haven't seen their schedule, but what they do when they see God is that they're constantly like, whoa, is like striking goals on the best arenas in the world. When your favorite team wins a hard battle, that is what they do in heaven. It's like, whoa, because God is so great. So they can't say anything else. And even Michael, Michael, the archangel, he is, when he looks at God, he's the one who's closest to God, and his name is Michael, which is actually, who is like you? That's the only question. He asks a question, it's like, honestly, God, who is like you? That's his name, because he's so, yeah, that's another story. But anyway, all these sound in heaven is massive. It's loud, and it's high roar. It's really, really big. So the sound in heaven is really, really massive. It's really loud. And then the picture again, this is what the woman sees in the bus. How God says, quiet. And there is a quiet coming in. Everything is quiet in heaven. And then he says, quiet, because my daughter is praying. And that massive thing, that God is actually trying and taking care of each one of us that way. My daughter is praying, or son, obviously. That is the interesting part, because that is how it is when we start to dance for the Lord, when we start to just do the dishes and invite him in. He wants to be there with us so much. So that is the feeling I want to have in the song. And that's also what's comforting me. With the Spirit in the sky, it is impossible to sit down and say, I can't dance. I'm not young enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not looking good enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not wealthy enough. I'm not skilled enough. I mean, I can find hundreds and thousands of reasons not to do this. But it is impossible. Because it isn't about what I'm supposed to do. It's what God is doing in me. And when the time comes, if it's going to be a big song or a small song, I don't care. For me, it's a song that gives back to me. And it helped me, it really helped me when I was done. Okay, I can't, I was out running, I can't run anymore. And it's boring. It's boring to run. And it's like, okay, so I'll put the song on. It's like, okay, I can run. And I do the last part. I've been traveling, and I've been in strange situations, and everybody's quarreling, and it's like silence, and you can't really discuss and make anything better, and you feel confused. I put the song on, and I take a walk, and it's like, I can do this. It's strange. It gives me something, and I wanted to give I wanted to be something for everybody to have.
Nice explanation.
You're very long.
Thank you for that. No, that's great. Fans want to know everything.
And they will. They will know everything.
So speaking of the fans, what can fans do to help the song gain more attention from different people in different markets all around the world? What do you think what can the fans do to help other people access the song and learn about it and get that kind of hope and joy from it that you do?
If you want to, I would be happy. I mean, if you want to, you could find what local media you have. Who is a blogger? Who is a good radio host? Who is who's working in your magazine? I mean, what do you have close that you can actually tell the story to and start nagging, because it's nagging you need. And also spread it on social media. Take the song, whatever thing I have, for instance, on TikTok, and you can talk about it. And if you see a piece of the song, and sing it yourself. And what I would love to do is I've seen these egg peeling thing they have on TikTok. And in Sweden, when I say open and alive, in Swedish, we don't say olive. We say olive. So for me, it's like opening an olive, open and alive. And I wanted to do a TikTok on that. It's so stupid. But do funny things with it, play with it, and post it yourself. So spread it, and also not just to give it away to info at and the paper's name. Try to find someone who actually works on the magazine or the TV channel, not someone who's actually working with it, and start talking about this is, and so they will know it exists.
Thank you. So switching gears a little bit, because of COVID, you haven't had as many chances to be on stage since 2020. You've done a few shows since then. So what was it like not being able to tour during the past couple of years, and how does it feel to be back up there on stage more often?
For me, it was I had been traveling so much, so it was quite a nice break. It wasn't my choice, and it was horrible, and it was like I needed to prevent everything at home and fix everything. And all of a sudden we became like a family in a different way, because we always saw each other. We were like, okay, so we were sitting in that room, and I take this room, and we're sitting in the same room, and all the lectures were at home, and we were just closing our family a bit, and that was good for us, because usually in my house we work 24/7, and we don't have any time off unless we sit in front of a dinner table, or we're not the kind of ones who goes out and take a picnic in the park. We don't do that. I know how to do it, but it's not. No, we're not doing that. And we don't take a walk in the forest together. It doesn't happen. So to be as a family, you sit and eat. We do a lot of things through eating, and that's where we meet. And I hadn't been home, and everything was like, oh no, I have to work with this at the same time. I have this show coming up, and there was always like, well, we have to do it this way. No, I want to do it that way. And that was our dinner tables. And now everything was quiet, and we started talking about, yes, which book do you like to read? And it's like, yeah. And it's with interesting questions that build the family, instead of always sitting and working. Because I love to work, but you have to switch your own gear sometimes from not working, and just listen to what they have to say, the other ones, once in a while.
To get back on stage after some time there? Did it take a little bit of a switching gears back into that work mode, or that work?
The thing is that I realized that I would be far from able to perform unless I did something to actually continue do appearances. So I hired a private dance teacher, and I went 2 or 3 times a week. I went to dance class, just me and her, in daytime, because I realized I had to put myself in front of it. And then when I did my splits, and I did my pirouettes, and I did my high jumps, and when I was back again, she said, okay, so I want you to start in a regular class. And I was like, no, that's not for me. I do my stuff for me. So, but that was the way when I was going to perform. The worst thing is when you stand with a dance teacher who's half your age, very good at dancing, and you look like a tin can. I mean, nothing special at all, and you just start to develop. And you put yourself in that, because it's hurtful, it hurts you. It's like, I don't look like I did when I was dancing when I was 18 last time. And that hurts. But I kept doing it because I knew that was my stage time. So when whatever I was doing later, it was just like vocally I had to start again, because I wasn't singing much. So I took as I usually do, it takes like 3 weeks to get everything popping in the channels again. And then I started with a German TV show. So that was easy. And then I had like shows in places where like just worked, and I longed to get back. So it wasn't for me. It wasn't like, oh no, how am I supposed to do this? It was more like finally I'm able to meet people again and go out there. So that was actually I was cool with that, because I made my job, because I had it in focus all the time that I have to be better when I come out than I was before.
Many fans, when they're watching a show, wonder what it looks like looking out toward the crowd during a performance. We always see you from here to the stage, so describe what it looks like from your point of view as you're actually performing. What do you notice? What do you see? What do you think about when you're, other than lyrics and movement and sound and that type of thing? Are you also taking in? Are they giving you different type of energy? You're giving the crowd energy. Are they giving you something different as well?
Well, the first thing you see when you go on is acers. You always look. That's the first thing you look for. And sometimes they're in disguise, so they're in hiding, or they're further back. Of course, I don't see them. But if they're in front, it's like, okay, I got my pillars here. I got my pillars, and and so that's recognizable. And then you know you have to behave as well, because it's going to be on camera, and there's a lot of people going to, like, you guys going to see it, of course. Sometimes when there's no acer in the crowd, there is like, okay, so now I don't have that, and it's like, where am I now? Why am I doing this? It's supposed to be here. But what we always do is, like, anybody who's been driving a car in a snowstorm knows that it's like a massive thing that is coming against you, and you're actually standing still. Like in the car, you're sitting still, but the vehicle is moving and the storm is coming against you. That's the feeling you have when you're on stage. So when you just have in your head that, okay, this is the time when I'm supposed to take 3 steps on that side, or else I will fall, because there's different stages sometimes, or that is a huge area there where you can't walk. Things you forget. You forget it at once, because it's like, you just forget it. It's the way it is. I sometimes also change. I see, like, oh no, I can't do this. I have to do the other song. And that is what you plan at the same time as you sing. And now this part comes, and I'm standing here, and they're standing there. Then I have to interact that way. And those are, and you're focusing on maybe one person in the audience at the same time as you know that there's something going on in that way, in that audience over there. All these things is like a massive information that comes. So faces in the audience for me are a massive information, and it's like running through a jungle with a very strong machete. It's like, and you have to do it right, else you hurt yourself. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a movement that is massive, and it takes a lot of energy. So before you charge before you go on stage. You can't not charge. It's like you have to do it. And I'm not always nervous when I go on stage, but I'm buckled up with massive energy that would just come out. And the day when I don't have nervous, when I'm not nervous, when I don't have this energy, I'm not a good performer. So that's basically it.
So let's talk about the upcoming album.
Mm-hmm.
What should we expect? And how is it going to be different from my story, and how is it going to be the same?
Well, the thing is that as it is right now, there is no album in that sense coming. It's just songs. I wanted to do an EP maybe with the 4 songs together, and I might do that. But as the market works, and as I work with that, maybe I can put 1 song on my show. But the trick is, but I have to wait. I have to start with one song. Then I have to start with maybe another song, maybe the third song, maybe the fourth song. And if it goes good, then I can choose to make my show in another way. And then I need more music. And that's not a problem in that case. Right now, for me to do a whole album is not an option. I can do 4 songs, and that is what I want to do. I might do 7 songs because I want to do one with Jacob. There, he has done very much good music that's just between us. I want to do one with my brother. He played me 3 songs the other day. Oh, he played me a lot of songs, but like 3 really interesting songs. Of course, I would like to do that. But it's also a matter of time, because it takes a lot of time, and it's a matter of money as well. So I need someone who actually, I mean, if it goes good and it's profitable in that way, then I could do it. But right now I'm printing the singles, Open and Alive, so I can hand them out to people if they want to buy it. But it's just because I know that sometimes you need something to cling on to. This is my music. And I got the other collection, and this is the song Open and Alive. So I'm printing it, and it's coming out in maybe 10 days, I think. So you can buy it. But yeah. But it's not an album in that way. I made an album in 2002 that isn't out yet. We'll talk about hidden gems. And then I made a lot of songs for my story that didn't make my story for one reason or another. So and then I've done dozens of songs after that. So I got my cluster bank with all these new music, and I mean I would love to do an album. So that's no problem, but it's just takes so much time, and it doesn't really what I need for my show, that is what I do my show. So what I need for that is maybe 1 or 2 songs to change the order. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Very good. Celebrating your 50th birthday that you had.
Oh, my 50th birthday, I haven't done that yet. It's coming, because I've been working so much, and also to have people around me that didn't really get the whole bunch together at the people that I wanted to be in place. So I'm just waiting for people to come home and be in one spot and all these things, because we've been spread out. So that's also a question of that. I was thinking maybe this spring, but I don't think I will make it this spring either. I would like people to meet each other, but the most important thing for me was to have, I think it was a very, I didn't like turning 50, because for me it was a reminder how my father was, my mother was, when they were in that age, and I'm very confident and happy with who I am, and I can as well be 60. It's not that, it doesn't matter, as long as I can do these things, because that is what I like to do most. Go out and work like this, and I would like to write more. I would like to write another book, maybe, you know, these things that I have inside me, and the way that I'm starting to get good at things that I was horrible at before. You get better when you do them. So yeah, I'm pretty confident, and I don't really need a huge celebration. I don't know, it's like an ego trip, and I don't need it because I get it every time I work. I think maybe people need that in another way. I don't need it that way. I wanted to have a nice ball, you know, nice dresses and stuff. I had it all planned, and then people weren't home and people were away. It's like, oh no, I had a date, and I was like, no, just skip it.
I will say that there are studies that show that a lot of people, their life gets progressively more difficult through their 40s, but then at 50 it starts going up, and it just keeps going up until the end of their lives.
Yeah.
So 50 is the start of the backup cycle.
Yeah.
If that was something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good. I think it's a good thought, because then you'd like, it's like a threshold. You pass it, and then it's like, okay. I don't know what it is, but it's for me. It was, I didn't like turning 50. I was sad. I didn't like it.
Yeah, in what way? I'm just curious.
No, but I think it was that my dad wasn't around. It was all these things. I mean, I'm 50. Where is he? And it just comes with these big days. And I didn't like the attention. I can do the attention as Jenny from Ace of Base, but the Jenny, she doesn't like attention. I'm not always putting on a show. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm a mom. And if they like me, and if I can help them in any way, that's me. And I'm a wife. As long as I function like that, that's good. That's enough for me. I don't need people to come and give me a thing and say, well, I get that. I get that from other places. And I struggle with it because sometimes it's an interesting question in one way, because I always have to. I write a passage in my book about when I'm doing World Music Awards, and I sort of hide when the audience applauses comes in the end. I bend down. It's like it hitting the wall instead of hitting me, because I know that is an elusive thing to get used to applause, because that is not making you any more loved or any better. Of course, you can always inspire someone and it's a way of appreciation, but for me as a person, I don't grow with the applause that is the bass music. I don't grow with it. I don't grow with applause. I get confused because it doesn't make me a better person. A better person is when I meet someone, sit down and talk and meet a person. They tell me their story, I tell you mine. That is a meeting, and that is mirroring each other, and that makes you become alive and you become someone. It's like filling up creation again, but an audience who applauds a performance. I always, what do you call it? Bent down, turned away from letting it hit my heart. It's like because it's such a strong drug. That's a healthy point of view.
It is very healthy.
Because you could almost become addicted to that type of.
Yeah, and I've always known that, and I always understood that. So I never did that. So having people, my loved ones, coming and being in one house or one place and only talk about me, it's like, yep. I know what they want to say. I know. I don't need it. Maybe they need each other, but I don't need it.
So the next question is
Merry Christmas.
The next thing is similar to that. So the Jenny Source created a video with fans wishing you a happy birthday. So what did you think about that, and what were you thinking as you were watching that clip?
Well, the thing is that I didn't see it on my birthday. My birthday was a bit heavy, I think. I don't know why, but there were all these ghosts in my mind. And then I saw it, and I was tearing up. My eyes was tearing up, and because it's like, because I've seen these faces, and there were a couple of new faces as well, I think. I don't remember actually right now, but I was so. People really put their efforts in doing this for me. It's like, why? I'm here. I will always be here, so I won't go away. But I felt like a warm summer breeze in my heart that was a bit like, I don't want to be 50. And then that video came along like, I can be 50. I can be 50. That suits me.
So my last question is, what would you like to add to this interview that we haven't talked about yet today? Is there any subject that I haven't covered that you would want to talk about or consider or say something about?
I do not have any specific subject that hasn't been covered in this video in that way, but I think that I would be very, very grateful if people really try to get the
music out, because social media is the way to sell it. You don't sell it the natural way, and every record label or every radio label, a radio program, they have their own agendas. Everything has their own agendas now. The business has changed so much, and so I need help. I do. And the main thing that I wanted with Open and Alive was to give a song that would make you guys happy. Fans happy. And the other thing that I really desired, I was like, okay, sorry God, but I really want this. I have to have it as a specific prayer because I really wanted it. I wanted to become top 10 in just one country. These are my goals, and I'm like, done that. Thank you, Chile.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Spending time today.
Yeah,
about
that's really
your
nice.
Song, your new album, and letting the fans know what's on your mind.
Thank you.